Welcome, UK families. We are very excited today to be together again for Cat Chat Live. My name is Nikki Jenkins. I'm the Director of Parent and Family Engagement here at the University of Kentucky. And I am very excited about one of UK's newest initiatives, UK Invests. And we have a very special guest here today to talk a little bit about what the program is and how your students can get involved. So Dr. Kirsten Turner is the Vice President for Student Success, and she's going to give us all of the details. Dr. Turner?
Thanks so much, Nikki, and thanks so much for having me. And I want to send a great big blue welcome to everyone on this first Cat Chat of the new academic year. So the campus is buzzing. We have welcome back all 33,000 or so students, and it's a really wonderful time of year as we're on our third day. As Nikki mentioned, happy to talk through UK Invest. We are really excited about this program. We announced it last year and did a series of pilots over the academic year 23. But this fall, for academic year 24, all 33,000 students are going to be able to take advantage of it if they want. It is an opt-in program, so they are able to opt into it. It's not required by any stretch, but if they want to, they're going to be able to create their own personal investment account. So happy to talk through a little bit of it, but also want to be available to you all for questions and just to start the conversation. So hopefully your student has heard about it, but if not, I want to give you a little primer in terms of what to do with it. So we've been at the University of Kentucky for a while, really trying to think about long-term financial stability for our students and setting them up. President Capilouto, under his excellent leadership, has really charged us to think about how do we prepare students for a life of meaning and purpose. And so this piece, this program ladders up to that work, thinking about how do we make sure when your student crosses the stage, they are prepared for that life of meaning and purpose, building on the excellent work that you've all done and the K through 12 system has done, and taking them to the next level. So when we think about UK Invest, what it is, it's a personal investment account that they can sign up for. We're using our partner Fidelity. Fidelity is a longstanding company. They have about 4,000 employees here in Kentucky. They also do a lot of work with our own faculty and staff in terms of retirement plans and whatnot. They are known, obviously, in the field. We are partnering with them where students can download an app called it's called UK Bloom. Bloom is an app that Fidelity has for young investors, but they've customized it for UK. We think we're the first in the nation to do this, though other institutions are starting to contact Fidelity to think through it. But what we want to do is provide an opportunity while they're students to start thinking a little bit more deeply about financial stability, learn about financial wellness and financial literacy through different online modules in terms of education, but then also learn through actually investing themselves. So every student will be able to open up an account. Again, it's optional. And then what we've done that I think is even more unique, other than just being the first institution to provide an investment account, is we're also giving students the opportunity to earn money to put into that investment account. So we've identified different behaviors that we think are behaviors that ladder up to that life of meaning and purpose that we want to hardwire in our students. I'll give you a couple examples, like if they go to the rec center and get involved in some sort of fitness program, or if they go to the career center and participate in some of the programming of the Career Center to prepare for internships or things of that nature. When they swipe in with their UK ID, when they do these types of behaviors, we can micro scholarship them and put a little bit of money into their investment account. So we've identified different behaviors around 4 different categories. So academics, finances, belonging, and mental and physical well-being. And by doing some of these types of activities, they can put some money into their investment account. Students can earn about $500 to about $550 a year to be put in an investment account. And it's up to that level where it won't impact people's financial aid. And then they can, through some parameters, they can think about what they want to do with that money in their investment account. So Fidelity has curated some mutual funds for us that have just slightly different amounts of risk. So there's like a low risk, a medium, and high risk makes it sound like it could be intense, but it's not. It's still within some scaffolding, some parameters. But students can think about how they want to approach that investment and that experience. And it's coupled with some financial literacy modules that they can also go through with some financial education. So in total, for a student who say is here as let's in this example as an undergrad for 4 years, they could earn more than $2,000 over the course of their 4 years and into this investment account. What we want students to start to understand compound interest, understand the value of money over time. And so part of that education that we provide them, part of that literacy, is we show them what happens if you were to take some money and you were let it to ride for 40, 50 years. And we talk to them about how important it is to start that early. And so we talk to them we show them what happens with compound interest over time if you start at 22 versus if you delay even just to 32, and the differential of what time can do to increase the value of your money. And so we want to give them a real life example and a real life opportunity to do that with the hope that while they're students, they start to wire the habit of investing in themselves for the long term. So we try to stress it's not the amount that they're putting into these accounts at this point, it's just the habit of putting money into these accounts and then letting time be on your side over the course of your lifetime to set you up for that long-term financial stability. Nikki, I'm going to stop there because I think I just threw a lot of information out. Happy to get into some of the details or if there are questions, but wanted to give a little bit of a primer.
Excellent. So some of the questions that families typically have are around, what happens to the money?
Sure.
So we put money in that account, and then how do students get it? Is it theirs? Yeah. Is it ours? What happens to it?
So at this point, this is the first, great question. At this point, it's the first year of implementation. And so they sign up for this account. They're able to have money deposited into it. They can add to it as well. But once it gets past that 550, there could be some implications in terms of taxes as well as in terms of your financial aid. So we try to stress to the students that if they stay under that 550, they don't have to worry about any of that. But if they decide to put more money on their own accord, there are some additional implications. It is their money. It's their account. It is not part of the university. It's a relationship with them and Fidelity. Now we've got a lot of scaffolding around that, but if a student wanted to, we hope they don't, but if they wanted to, within 72 hours or 2 weeks or 2 months, they could liquidate those accounts because it is their money. Now we try to, as they sign up for this, try to provide some education that says, this is for long-term financial stability. We want you to understand what happens if you keep that money in, but it's their money. The account is theirs. If they leave the institution, even before they graduate, that account goes with them. It is portable to the student. It's between the student and the account. The institution is just helping to facilitate it.
Great. And how will, once students sign up through the UK Bloom app,
yeah,
how will they know what they can earn money doing?
Sure. Yeah, it's a great question. So we have a learning management tool on campus called Canvas. Many of you may be familiar with it, but for those of you who are new to the Wildcat family, our Canvas platform is where students do all their coursework goes through that. Students upload assignments to their Canvas, to the Canvas pages. It has different tabs for every single course that they're in. Students are in Canvas all the time because most of their, any class notes, any assignments, any discussion boards, all of that is primarily run through Canvas. And so what we have is on every student's Canvas website is a tab that says UK Invest, and it's set up, it looks like a course for them. So they would just click on the Canvas UK Invest tab, and it lays out, here are all the things that you can earn money for. And it shows it very, in a very organized fashion. And so then when a student goes to one of the events that's identified, or one of the experiences that's identified to earn money for UK Invest, they will swipe in with their ID card, and it's all kind of in the background. That money will get deposited into their Invest account. So they'll see it both in terms of in their UK Bloom app, but they can also track it through the UK Invest tab on Canvas, which is something that they're very familiar with and something that they operate in multiple times a day. So it's actually quite slick in my opinion, because it is a place where students go to and they're used to seeing how to navigate their courses through the Canvas website. We've got the UK Bloom app for we give out the iPad. So it was loaded on all the first year students' iPads this year. We also have a information desk that's been set up in the Gatton Student Center that's specifically just for UK Invest. So students can also, if they're confused, we've got signs all over the place with QR codes that can help people log into it. But if they've got questions or they're confused, they can also go to that information desk at the Gatton Student Center and there's somebody there staffing it to help walk them through it.
Excellent. We have another question from Allison. She is asking specifically about why we limit the amount of money students can have per year. And I know you talked about it a little bit, but could you kind of reemphasize why?
Sure. Yeah, and Allison, I appreciate that question. I should say I'm not a financial planner, so I'm going to probably get out of my area of expertise. And so we could get you the exact kind of legal ruling on it and like the accounting rules on it. But essentially, if students can put more money in there. So if they want to put their own money and they want to go above, they can. There are additional financial implications once you pass that kind of 550 threshold. For example, in terms of students who are on financial aid, it will at one point it crosses the threshold of additional resources that could then impact how much aid that they are eligible for, and could actually trigger lowering the aid. It also at certain levels can have some tax implications, and so the university is going to allow them to earn up to that limit. If students wanted to add in more monies on top of that, they are welcome to. It's their account, but we wanted to keep it at a limit that if students, if that's all that they could afford to put in there or to earn in there, it wouldn't have any sort of implications on things like financial aid. So students can put more if they want. But just we want people to understand that once you do that, it can have spillover effects that we want people to be aware of.
And if students already have Fidelity accounts, can they merge their accounts together?
That's a good question. I don't think at this point, because the UK Bloom curated funds are specific for this project, but we are working with them since we're first to market on this. We're working with them, and we see this as an iterative year, so it's something that we could think about long term. We've also thought about as students are able to get more and more financial education and knowledge and kind of move through some of those, would we allow additional types of investment opportunities for them over time as this program matures. But as we start for this first year in, we've got some parameters on there as we roll it out. I was going to say something else and I just lost my train of thought. So, but yeah, I think that's, we can imagine this growing in that direction. But right now it's those 4 curated funds.
And are there any fees or charges that students will have if they sign up?
No, it's a no load, no fee. The university isn't receiving any monies within it. It is a really great account for students to try out. We tell this story. I think it's really compelling. We tell a story of two different students. If you have a student who is who at 20 graduates, let's pretend they graduate from undergrad at 22, and they wait 10 years. They wait 10 years before they decide to start putting some money away for retirement. So at 32, they put $100 a month in an account, so $1,200 a year, and they let that ride for 40 years. And the S&P has had a rate of return over the last 40 years of around 11%. And what they would get at the end of those 40 years for $100 a month for 40 years, starting at 32, with the rate of return, the 40-year rate of return of the S&P is about 700, about $750,000, 750,000 roughly, which is not, that's not bad. That's, that looks, and students tend to say, oh, wow, that looks really good. Then we show them another example and we say, okay, if you had put $100 away starting at 22, and you did it for just 10 years. So you only did it until you were 32. And then you didn't put another dime in after 32. And you had that same rate of return and you had that same maturity rate of the 40-year run. It's about 1.5 million of the rate of return. And so we try to show them, this is why it's so important to start early and just the habit of putting money in this, because then you let time do all the work for you. And so that's part of what we're trying to teach them is we want to set you up so that you get into the habit, even if you're just putting in a couple dollars while you're in school, and then you let that ride and you get into the habit of just putting money in it and let time really help you, because you can't make that up. It's so much harder to make that up. And so that's part of the lesson we're trying to impart is that we're going to facilitate it. We're going to help set you up. We're going to give you opportunities to earn. We're going to give you the education. But what we want you to do is continue that and let it ride for as many years as you can.
Great. That sounds so great. I wish I would have had this in college.
You too. You too.
A couple of other questions. Allison, bringing another good question here. Will this be reviewed with students in UK 101 or other courses?
Yeah.
And as a UK 101 instructor, I can answer this and say, yes.
Yes.
Yes, we will absolutely do that. But what other educational and marketing is going to be out there for students?
Yeah, no, good questions. We've got, if you were on campus, we've got lots of different yard signs all over. If you go to the student center, you'll see on all of our digital signage, there's an awful lot about UK Invest. If your student lives in the residence hall, there was, we place cards in every single residence hall room as people were moving in. So there should be some information on the student's desk on that. So we've got all sorts of different marketing. There's postcards, there's all sorts of those types of things. When they log on to Canvas right now, there's a huge banner on the Canvas actual site that says UK Invest, you want to earn some money. So we're using lots of different digital, electronic, and even snail mail media to create awareness about this. We also have part of what we're doing is we have a student financial wellness office that's different than financial aid. This is a group of people who are, students can just go in and work on long-term financial plans, financial issues in terms of their financial health and wellness. Part of that office also does a lot of outreach and a lot of programming. So they too are in different spaces. They're coming to different residence hall meetings. They're going to different clubs and organizations, kind of trying to get the word out. And then we're doing things like this to try to make people aware of what we think is a really innovative program. We had a big article in USA Today. They were spotlighting it, and so we're also and we've had some other news stations who've done some work on this as well for us.
Dr. Turner, you talked about first-year students getting the app on their iPads that they received. What about students who are not in their first year? When can they join?
So a couple pieces that I should say. I need to have just a small asterisk on those 33,000 students. It is for all undergrad, grad, professional, and postdoc. You do have to have a social security number. And so we do have, there are some very discrete carve outs that we are trying to work with Fidelity and thinking through how do we navigate for certain international students who are on certain visas, things like that. So there are some discrete small groups that we are still trying to figure out who if they don't have a social security number, how we navigate it. But the first group that we are we did, as I mentioned, we did some pilots last year with roughly about 2,500, 3,000 students or so. So some students already have it, but starting this week, all new students. So it could be a new grad student, it could be a new professional student, or a new undergrad, a transfer student or a freshman. They are able to log on and they're eligible. And then starting next week, all returning students. We wanted to we didn't want to bring all 33,000 up at the same time, because in case we had some enrollment issues, we wanted to mitigate that. But all returning students should be able to download the UK Fidelity Bloom app. They can get on a QR code, which is all over campus, and that will take them straight to the app, and they can download it, and they can sign up right then and there. If they are confused, they can go to the Gatton Student Center and go to that help, the information desk for UK Invest. It's a little bit of a this is a little bit of a funny, but the UK information desk is directly across from the information desk. So the information desk, which is kind of in the center of the Gatton Student Center, there's a little kiosk that we've set up right across from that to help students log on to their UK Bloom Fidelity account. If again, this is all opt-in. They don't have to do this if they don't want to. There's no requirement, but it's if they want to, and I hope they do take advantage of it. It should be very user-friendly to log on.
And just to clarify for some families who jumped on late, once their account is set up, it is their account. When they graduate or when they leave the university, it is theirs. They keep it and they can do with it what they will at that point.
That's right. That's right. And they can, I mean, I hope they don't do this. They can liquidate that immediately if they want to. We try to teach them, a part of our modules that we've got is spend, save, and invest, and the different ways that we think about that. If they have needs in terms of critical situations, we've got other avenues of support at the institution in terms of emergency funding, in terms of persistence funding, in terms of campus jobs. So we see this as part of a complement for long-term. We don't see this as a solution for somebody who has some critical needs that might arise around finances. We've got other spaces and avenues for students, and we would love to sit down. If a student's in a place where they are like, I'm going to have to liquidate this because I've got to cover emergency funding over here, we have other offices that are set up to help in those situations. We really want them to think through how to practice the art of saving for long-term financial stability. So if you have a student who has acute needs, there are other avenues. We're hoping that this is a place where they can really start to understand the value of time in this space.
Right. I think that is all the questions that we have. I know that some families were asking if this presentation would be made available, and absolutely it will be made available on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll post the link for you. So please feel free to share it with your students. We would love some grassroots efforts of pushing out the message, because we believe in it and are very excited about it, and hope that your students are going to be just as excited about it as well. Any last minute words of wisdom for our families?
The only thing I will say is one of the things I love the long-term financial stability. I really think it's cool. I also love that we're taking that habit forming that we want with the savings and incentivizing the other habits that we want to try to help the students. I think that is an even cooler special sauce. So it's not just about long-term financial stability. It's also about forming habits that ladder up to that life of meaning and purpose, and getting the students in the habit of these behaviors and micro scholarshiping them in a way so that they can earn money in order to save. So I think it's pretty novel, and excited that the university is leading the way on it. So we love having your students. It is the marching band's been practicing. It is a great time to be on campus. We'd love to have you. We hope to see you all at Parent and Family. The institution is just, it's just fabulous. And so thank you so much for entrusting us with your child. It is a complete honor to be a part of that journey with you and your family.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Dr. Turner. If anyone has any additional questions that we didn't get to, feel free to put them in the comments and we will try to answer as many as we can. Or you can call the Parent Family Association or email us at parents@uky.edu, and we're always happy to help. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Go Cats!